Branding, B-R-A-N-D-I-N-G, branding. Why am I talking about branding when it comes to being a school leader? The one thing that I learned from some very smart mentors of mine in education, especially as a school leader, is how important branding is. Believe it or not, the reputation of the school leader or school leaders, how you carry yourself, what people think about you, what people say about you, has a huge impact on the identity of the school. It shouldn't. The principal should be an individual whose job is just to run the school, simply with the assistant principals, the deans. But branding is at the core of whether people want to send their kids to the school, or better yet, to your school. Your school could be the George Washington High School for amazingness, but I guarantee you someone's going to ask, who's the principal? Tell me about the staff. How do they move? How do they run the school? What's the culture of the school? What does the school look like? The mascot, the color scheme of the logo. When you walk into the hallways, the feel that you have, the decorations, are there flags hanging from the ceilings? Are there pictures on the wall? How do the people who work in that school carry themselves and dress? Branding. There's a lot of things that I just mentioned that you cannot control, at least not from the beginning. But the one thing you can control is you. Me as a principal, I was so, so obsessed with making sure that the way I dressed, the way I spoke, portrayed the image that I wanted people to have of the school community. I took on my back the essence of what it was to be a member of that school community. My first school that I was principal of, the house of the home of the mighty bears. I took it upon myself that every logo, every iteration of the logo was everywhere. Down to the fact that I made patches that I threw onto my blazer, so that when people saw me out there, they would be like, oh, you're from such and such school. Who are you? I'm the principal. Oh, we heard about you. What did you hear about me? Man, you don't play. Like your kids, you go hard for your kids. Your students do really well. I know a lot of parents who want to send their kids to your school. But in all reality, I'm just one person there. It's just that I took it upon myself to make sure that everything about me was in alignment with what I wanted the world to see about my school community. As a school leader, it's very important that you have a strong brand, your strong identity. When I moved to my second school as a principal, my brand is what carried me there. My reputation, when people would ask, so tell me about, do you know Mr. Njoku, the principal, in the Bronx? And people who knew who I was, I'm not saying I'm a big celebrity and people just knew me across the city. No, but the people within my realm, I'm very positive. I'm 100% sure, 100% positive that what they said about me was what I wanted to be portrayed about me. Tough, fair, loving of my school community, and someone who had a very strong brand identity of what I stood for as far as my philosophy was concerned and how it aligned to my school. So I'm gonna give you three things to think about. Number one, as a school leader, what do you stand for? What is your educational philosophy? What is it that you believe? Not just what your school mission and vision is. What is your mission and vision as a school leader? And how does that exist in the way you present yourself and in the things that you do on a daily basis? I mean, even down to the language that comes out of your mouth. How is that portrayed out of your mouth? Number two, what is the one unique thing about you? And this is where it gets interesting. The one unique thing about you that just stands out. And this is very, very important because this creates total recall. When people will see you be like, or they see something be like, oh, in your brains. That's so and so. That's what I mean by total recall. They'll completely recollect and recall where they saw that from and who that is. For me, I was a sneaker principal. A very expensive habit. But for my kids, it's funny because I love sneakers. A lot of my kids love sneakers. And that was the one thing that my kids would always be like, yo, look at Mr. Njoku's feet. Yo, that's my principal right there. You know, that was my thing. You know, I know people who do bow ties. I know people who do, you know, I know principals who rap. I know principals who are artists. I know principals who just dress. They just have they get the gift of gab, the way they dress. Something about them just stood out. It was uniquely them as far as their physical presentation. And number 3, being out there. Okay, these are the 3 things about branding I think you should always think about. You know, and the number 3, being out there. It's very important. It's very, very important that you are ever present. Ever present. And that's the hardest thing to do. With every competing priority in the school building, to be ever present is extremely hard. But you have to be ever present. You have to have the appearance and the persona of that if anyone in your school community turned their heads, you're standing right there. And the way you do that is you gotta be outside your office. You gotta sit in classrooms. You gotta sit in teachers' lessons. You know, I would sit in classrooms literally. Let me tell you one thing. Kids saw me all the time, teachers saw me all the time, because I was known for, I gotta check my emails, I got work to do. I'll take my laptop, go find a classroom, like, listen, I'm not here to observe you, I'm just here to just chill in the back and get some work done. Do you mind if I sit in your classroom? Teachers loved it all the time. And from time to time, I'll see great things in the classroom, I can give them feedback, but again, it was non-threatening. And again, I don't do gotchas. You know, I trusted that all my staff were there to do their job, but by me being in classrooms and doing work in classrooms, I was ever present, you know. In the cafeteria, I would eat my lunch in the cafeteria, ever present. Or sometimes if I had a bunch of kids who wanted to sit down and talk with me, we'd sit in my conference room and have lunch. I'd get some pizzas or whatever the case is, Chinese food. We'd sit down there and chop it up, ever present. After school, I'd be outside, shaking hands with parents, having conversations, cracking jokes with the police officers, with school safety, whoever, ever present. You know, people in the local corner stores who knew who I was. Yo, you're the principal from the school over there. Blah, blah, blah. In the morning, I'd stop by and they'd be like, hey, the coffee's on us. No, man, I gotta pay. I gotta support my community. Ever present. Okay? So, your brand, you know, making sure you have a strong identity, know what you stand for, what your philosophy is, and it's represented in everything you do. Number 2, have something unique about you, whether it's a pin or the way you rock your hair, whatever. So when people see it, they're like, oh, that's so-and-so. For me, it was sneakers. And then number 3, being ever present. That's the foundations of establishing a brand as a school leader. All right, y'all, be well, and we'll talk soon. Peace.